Hello everyone, welcome to the third chapter, Vistas. Okay, getting bored due to lockdown? Come, I'll take you for a long journey where you cannot go ever. Come. Journey, what journey is it? It is journey to the end of the earth. And it's by Tishani Doshi. Tishani Doshi is a famous figure in the history of English literature. And here in this story, we see that she takes us to a long journey, and she is from Chennai, that is Madras, and from there she moves on to her journey to Antarctica. So she has welcomed, we all go with her. Come. If you want to know more about the planet's past, present and future, the Antarctica is the place to go to. And Bon Voyage. What is she telling? That if we are interested to know how the world is, how it evolved, how things have come, how the rivers, countries, oceans, seas, everything is seen on the map and so on. So what is she saying? That if you want to know the present, past and future of this universe or of this world or of the planet Earth, so what are we to do? We have to go on a voyage to Antarctica, and she wishes all of us bon voyage. Let's move with her. Early this year, I found myself aboard a Russian research vessel, the Academic Shukalsky. Okay, so this is the vessel. Vessel is the ship, and what's his name? Academic Shukalsky. Heading towards the coldest, driest, windiest continent in the world, Antarctica. And she boarded from Madras, that is Chennai, and she's moving towards Antarctica, and she's describing Antarctica, we all know that, as the most coldest, driest and windiest continent in the world. Antarctica. My journey began the time she gives over, and the degrees, that is 13.09 degrees north of the equator in Madras. Her journey started from Madras, and the place from equator, how far it is, she has shown, and involved crossing 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and at least as many ecospheres. So while she has started her journey, whatever things she had come across, that is, she is talking about 9 zones, then 6 checkpoints, 3 water bodies, that is oceans or seas and so on, and so many ecospheres. By the time I actually set foot on Antarctica, means she has started her journey, and by the time she reached, set her foot means reach Antarctica, she has traveled almost 100 hours by car, by aeroplane, in a ship, and then that is how the total journey was 100 hours. So my first emotion on facing Antarctica's expansive white landscape and uninterrupted blue horizon was relief. So after a long journey of 100 hours, the first thing as she landed was she had, irrespective of the labor or hardship, whatever she has faced, at least she has reached to the destination. So she took a sigh of relief. She was relaxed. Followed up with an immediate and profound wonder. At the same time, she was wondering. She was surprised. What is it? How is it? And so on. Wonder at its immensity. Her curiosity was to the peak, immensity, and its isolation. The planet, we are told, hardly any inhabitants are there. No human beings stay there. And so it was far, far, wherever you see, only white ground and isolated place from the main earth. But mainly at how there could be ever have been a time when India and Antarctica were part of the same landmass. They say that I was surprised to know, or I was wondering how today the place is so isolated from the earth, but once it was that India and Antarctica were of the same landmass. Now let's see, she's talking something about the history of this place. 650 million years ago, a giant amalgamated southern supercontinent Gondwana. Okay, so amalgamation is mixture. They're saying that 650 million years ago, a place was there, a supercontinent, and what was its name? Gondwana, and did indeed exist. It was there, it existed, and centered roughly around the present day Antarctica. And where was it? It was today where Antarctica is. Those days Gondwana was there. Things were then very different. How humans were not there on this global scene where the Gondwana was there, where Antarctica is today. There till then or in those time, human beings did not exist, and climate was also much warmer than it is today, hosting a huge variety of flora and fauna. Everywhere, flora and fauna, water and vegetation and things. Okay, and 500 million years ago, Gondwana thrived. Gondwana thrived means still existed, continued to be existed. But then, when dinosaurs were wiped out and the age of the mammals got underway, the landmass was forced to separate into countries. Human beings were not there, but other species were there. And slowly and gradually, since 500 years, Gondwana was there, and then slowly and gradually, as dinosaurs started these started diminishing, or they started wiping off, means there came an end to these dinosaurs, and the mammals also finished this landmass. That time this Gondwana was forced to separate into the countries and shaping the globe much as we know it today. And then what we know today, Antarctica, or what the shape of the globe we know today, was then shaped. To visit Antarctica now is to be a part of that history, to get a grasp of what we have come from and where we could possibly be heading. Okay, saying to visit Antarctica is really, it is part of the history, but where we have started from, where have we come from, and where we are going to reach, that's really a wonder. It's to understand the significance of the Cordilleran folds and Precambrian granite shields, ozone and carbon. These are all parts of the planet, and so he's saying that what are we to do? We have to understand all these things. What is the significance of the Precambrian granite shields, ozone layer, carbon evolution and extinction? These all things we have to know. When we think about all this can happen in a million years, it can get pretty mind-blogging. Imagine India pushing northwards, jamming against Asia to buckle its crust and form the Himalayas. He's saying then when all these things, this carbon, ozone, granite shields and all these things when evolved, when it is getting extinct, okay, that time a thought would be there. Mind-blogging means we are coming across all these things. There's a state of confusion in our mind, and she asks us, the narrator is saying, imagine that supposing where India is today, it would have been pushed in the northwards, and then it would be jamming, it would create a jam against what? Against Asia to buckle its crust. It would be crust and form the Himalayas. Or imagine that South America is drifting off and it is joining to America and then opening up to the Drake Passage. How she is asking us to imagine how it would be today, whatever it is. Had it been there, the different situation, then how would these things look? Cold circumpolar current keeping Antarctica frigid, desolate and at the bottom of the world. Then Antarctica would not have been, and this is how things have, and keeping Antarctica at the bottom of the world means in the map it would be at the bottom. From a sun worshipping South Indian like myself, 2 weeks in a place where 90% of the Earth's total ice volumes are stored in a chilling prospect, not just of circulatory and metabolic functions, but also for the imagination. Saying that she was from where? She had come from Chennai. And if we talk about the climatic condition, then it is much hotter. Chennai is much hotter. So from such a hot place, she has come almost 90% of the Earth's total ice. Means she has come to a total frigid or the coldest place she has come over. And then she is saying, if it is, then sometimes it happened that initially she found the metabolic functions, means initially she found it difficult to acquaint or adjust, but also for imagination. It's like walking into a giant's ping pong ball. Ping pong is the tennis ball, he's saying, and this experience coming from the hottest place and then moving to the coldest place, initially adjustment was very difficult. And what is she comparing it with? He's saying as if she was like a ping pong ball devoid of human makers. Devoid of human makers means devoid is without human activities and things. No trees is there, no billboards. Billboards is signboards are not there, buildings are not there. Whereas it's a Madras or Chennai is a posh area, there all these things are there. You lose all earthly sense of perspective and time here. And what is that? No connection you have with earth, or whatever things are found on earth, there these things are not found here. The visual scale ranges from the microscopic to the mighty midges and mites to blue whales and icebergs as big as countries. Okay, and the things on earth, they are not found, but what do we find here? Something different from earth. And what is he saying? Visual scale means certain things what I found over here, they were big images of microscopic to mighty, the smallest tiny things that can be seen through a microscope, as well as the huge things like mammals and so on, she could see there. The largest recorded was the size of Belgium. Days go on and on and on it. Surreal 24 austral summer light. Austral is something that is related to the southern hemisphere. And ambiguous silence means totally, ambiguous means obviously the place was hardly inhabited by the human being or so. So it was isolated and totally it was calm and quiet. Interrupted only by the occasional avalanches. Very calm and quiet place, hardly any being is seen. And whenever we talk, the voice is echoed because everywhere it is isolated. And he's saying ambiguous silence. Obvious it has to be silent, and then sometimes only here and there a echoing sound or some sound is heard. And what is this sound of? The sound is of the avalanche. Avalanche, you know, small big slides of ice which fall down from the place where it is slid down, that is, or carving ice sheet. Big ice sheets are falling either on the ocean or there or underneath. To place yourself in the concentrates the place. It's an immersion that will force you to place yourself in the context of the Earth's geological history. And for humans, the prognosis isn't good. He's saying that there are chances what takes place in history. He's saying it's an immersion that will force you to place yourself in the context. There are chances, or there are things which will force you to be found in the Earth's historical sector, or there are chances which have taken place in the history, geographical history. And for humans it is prognosis isn't good. Prognosis means forecasting is not good for humans. Now we see what is the impact of it on human. Human civilizations have been found for a paltry 12,000 years. He's saying that we have tried to prove more and more, where human beings have been dominating years and years earlier. Continued. Barely a few seconds on the geological clock. In that short amount of time, we have managed to create quick and ruckus, etching our dominance over nature with villages, towns, cities and megacities. It is saying that human beings have started developing their dominating power, okay, very soon, and then we have managed to create quite a ruckus. Means ruckus is confusion, quite a confusion, etching our dominance. They have proved our dominance over this nature, and then on this nature we have built villages, towns have set up, cities have set up, megacities have set up. That is how human dominance have worked. The rapid increase of human population has left us battling with other species for limited resources. And as human beings or human population started increasing, what happened? There had started battle or fight, not exact literal fight, but a competition with whom? With the species who are, because resources were limited, and so a fight or a argument sort of a thing started creating. And the unmitigated burning of fossil fuels has now created a blanket over the carbon dioxide around the world. Unmitigated means uncontrolled, excessive. Saying that excessive use of what? Excessive use of this carbon dioxide. People have started using these resources, okay, burning of the fossil fuels and so on. So a carbon layer has been created around the world, which is slowly but surely increasing the average global temperature, and because of which we are today, the global warming is the cause of this, that excessive fossil fuel is being burned and the whole world is covered with carbon dioxide. So the volume of carbon dioxide has increased. This is the, she is trying to give a touch of how what is the effect of, or how of this place, if or how human domination has worked. Climate change is one of the most hotly contested environment debates in our country. Global warming, or the change in climate, that is all you know, that your grandparents would be saying that our time climate was this, here now it is this. So months, according to the months, the climate doesn't match out. So it keeps on changing, and really it's a matter of debate. Means everywhere we see this is discussed. Will the West Antarctic ice sheet melt entirely? So because of this global warming or difference in the climate change, we are worried that whether this Antarctica would be there, or ice would be there or not, or whether it would be melted and big lots of oceans would be seen entirely. Will the Gulf Stream ocean current be disrupted? Because when water increases, the force of the water current will also be disturbed. Will it be the end of the world, as we know? And then beyond requirement, if water is there, now ice is melted, so people are going there. Ice is frozen, so people are going there. Now if due to global warming, this ice starts melting, then what would happen? Everywhere there will be water and water. So will there be now the world anymore, or is there a doubt or a fear that the world will come to an end? Maybe or may not, we don't know. Either way, Antarctica is a crucial element in this debate. So whatsoever, wherever discussion is there, Antarctica really is part of the discussion. Which world which has never sustained a human population and therefore remains relatively pristine. Pristine means unspoiled and natural. Now here she is sarcastically talking that Antarctica is such a place where human population has not reached, or they are not, Antarctica is not inhabited by human beings, and that is why still now it is pristine, means it is still unspoiled and natural, it is natural otherwise. And so sarcastically means wherever humans are there, one or the other things are interrupted in nature, and then the beauty of nature is spoiled. So he is saying, thank God in Antarctica human beings have not reached. In this respect, but more importantly, because it holds in its ice cores 500,000-year-old carbon records trapped in its layers of ice. And in the, even though the this place Antarctica is covered with ice, 500,000 years old, this fact is that carbon records are trapped in the ice sheets. If we want to study and examine the Earth's past, present and future, Antarctica is the place. And that is why she says that if we want to know how this world evolved, and if we want to know the past, present and future of the world, or of Earth, then Antarctica is the best support. Students on Ice, the program I was working with, the Sokolsky, aims to do exactly this by taking high school students to ends of the world. Now she is telling Students of Ice is a program, and is saying every time high school students are taken for this program, in this program, and when she went also, a group of students were there who went to study about Antarctica, or know about Antarctica in the same ship. What was the name of the ship? Sokolsky. Okay, and of the world, and providing them with inspiring educational opportunities which will help them to foster a new understanding and respect for our planet. Why has this program been set? So that these children can see on their own the beauty of nature, and then they would have an educational opportunities will be given to them by doing so, and they will get develop a positive attitude, or they will inculcate the opportunities and how to save the earth, how to, for new understanding will be there. They will have respect for the planet. That is why they were taken. It's been in operation for 6 years now. Okay, since 6 years this program is being going on, and who was the head of that? He was a Canadian member, name is Geoff Green. He was undergoing this program since 6 years, but he is now got tired of doing all these things, because earlier this program was there, but why is he tired? Because earlier program was there, but students were not there. This program was for whom? Was for the big celebrities, retired people, rich people and all, who were curious okay, to reach there and to go there and see what it is, and for their own interest, okay, they will not be any help to the planet as students, because they are the new generation. So if students are taken there, if these programs are conducted with the help of the students, or students are if a part of this program, then they will be having, the foster means inculcate, inspiring attitude will be developed in the children. They will be understanding the new things on the earth, and maybe in future, because they are the future generations, would be some help to protect this planet. So, with Students on Ice, he offers the future generation of policymakers a life-changing experience at an age when they are ready to absorb, learn, and most importantly, act. And what is he saying? He is calling these students. Student on Ice is the name of the program. And so he is saying that he is directing or telling that these students are who? These future generations, he is saying, and they are the policymakers. Okay, and so he's saying if they see this, they understand is this, then so many life-changing experiences they will have, and then they can learn so many things, and most importantly, after learning, they can react or make use of those knowledge and change the look or the planet or the earth. The reason the program has been so successful is because it's impossible to go anywhere near the South Pole and not to be affected by it. Saying why is this program? Because it's very been arranged, because it is difficult, has been so successful with the program which they with the children they have moved on. It was really a success, because no other place is there to go other than Antarctica in the South Pole, so it was not much affected. It's easy to be blazed. Close means uninterested, but about polar ice caps melting while sitting in the comfort zone of our respective latitude and longitude. But when you can visibly see glaciers retreating and ice shelves collapsing, you begin to realize that the threat of global warming is very real. What is she trying to say? That it is very easy. Every time we hear of global warming, this and that, sitting in the longitudes and latitudes, whatever is sitting at home, listening to the news or listening from people that this is global warming is there, Antarctica's ice is melting, avalanches are falling, and so it is very easy. We listen to it and then we forget. We don't give much importance to all these things. But when we when we are not careful about the global warming, we don't pay much attention to that, how harmful global warming is. But now when these children are seeing, or when you see on your own the beauty of these places diminishing, or due to global warming the beautiful planet is going to extinct, okay, or the ice is going to melt and so on, or how harmful global warming is, then you will behave in a different manner. That's what he is trying to tell the people who are sitting at home and just not reacting or listening to these things. Antarctica, because of a simple ecosystem and lack of biodiversity, is the perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can have big repercussions. Repercussions are consequences. We say Antarctica is the best place, okay, to study the ecosystem, and because due to lack of biodiversity is there, okay, this is the perfect place to see how the changes are taking place in the environment and what are the consequences of it. And then she is giving an example that the microscopic phytoplankton. Okay, what are these? These are the small plants or the organisms, those grasses of the sea that nourish and sustain the entire southern ocean's food chain. Saying these plants which are responsible for feeding the whole atmosphere in Antarctica, whatever inhabitants are there, these small organisms, okay, or small plants, they feed this or maintain the food chain in the oceans. Then they are single-celled animals. How do they prepare the food? They take the sun's energy, accumulate carbon, and then synthesize the organic compounds in that wondrous and most importantly of process called photosynthesis. So these plants or these small phytoplankton organisms, small plants, what is that? How they are helping the other organisms, or how they are maintaining the food chain. That is what she is saying, that with the help of carbon dioxide and of course the organic compounds in the wonderful manner, he is these plants are undergoing the process of photosynthesis and preparing the food. Science warned that a future depletion in the ozone layer will affect the activities of this phytoplankton. Phytoplankton. So he's saying that scientists, because of global warming, and we are known that ozone layer is also a cause of fear for us, and that is why saying if it continues due to global warming, the ozone layer will increase and it will affect the activities of these organisms, which in turn will affect the lives of the marine animals. And if this process of photosynthesis or the food chain is interrupted, then all the marine lives, the birds, or the global carbon cycle, all will be interrupted. In the parable means in the story of this phytoplankton, there is a great metaphor of existence. Take care of the small things and the big things will fall into. And she's saying that we all in the story, or we all are aware of that if small things are taken care of, then automatically the big things will be taken care of. So he's saying these small things are feeding the big ones. So if these small things are disturbed, these small organisms which are helping maintaining the food chain in Antarctica, then the bigger ones also will be affected. Now walk on the ocean. My experience was full of such epiphanies, but the best occurred just short of Antarctic Circle at 65.55 degrees south. The Skolasky had managed to wedge herself into a thick white stretch of ice between the peninsula and Tadpole Island, which was preventing us from going any further. They are saying, what is this epiphanies? The narrator says that her experience in Antarctica was full of what? Was full of such realization. She has understood that what are the how harmful things are for Antarctica, and if this global warming and things continues, then what would be the effect to Antarctica. And she was realizing all these things, and the Skolasky ship had managed to wedge herself into a thick white, and while she was thinking all these things, she was moving almost 65.55 degrees southern end. And what happened is that at this period the ship has moved further, and it had reached between the peninsula and the Tadpole Island. And now what happened? It got stuck up. The ship was not able to move further. The captain of the ship then decided that they would get down and they would do what? Head back north. Instead of proceeding southern end, they would move back toward the north. But before they stepped back, what happened that they were instructed to climb down, means get down and gangplank and walk on the ocean. They were asked, gangplank is the wooden planks or pieces which are kept on the ship for to move from one place to another. So first they decided to move to the north, but then it was told that they got to get down and then walk on the gangplank, and that is to walk on the ocean. So they did accordingly. Almost 52 of them were there, knitted out in the Gore-Tex and glass, walking on a stark whiteness and seemed to spread out forever. Okay, this Antarctica is a sheet of ice everywhere, as in desert we see sand and sand. Okay, similarly in Antarctica, wherever our sight reaches, we see that it is ice and ice. So they said that everywhere a white sheet was spread over and they were walking on it. Underneath our feet was a meter thick piece of ice. Almost a thick ice was there. As it is, underneath the ice there is ocean, but this ice was thick enough, and underneath that it was 180 meters of living, breathing salt water. Living, breathing salt water means the ocean. In the periphery, crab-eater seals were stretching and sunning themselves on ice floes, much like stray dogs will do under the shade of a banyan tree. In between, the seals or the water life, whatever they are, okay, they are water animals. They are there underneath the water. Crab-eater and also whatever doing, they were coming out and stretching on the ice to get the sun. She is comparing this with the stray dogs who, after getting exhausted, they take rest under the shade of a banyan tree. It was nothing sort of a revelation. Okay, he's saying that it's what was not that realization and things. Everything does indeed connect. Everything here had one or the other connection with each other. That's what he wanted to say. 9 time zone, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and many ecospheres. Later, I was still wondering about beauty of balance in play on our planet. He's saying after moving on to so many 9 time zones, 9 zones and all, she has come across 6 checkpoints, 3 water bodies, that is 3 oceans and seas, so many ecospheres. Now when she reached there, what is she was wondering that how the things are balanced, how the beauty is balanced on the planet. How would it be if Antarctica were to become the warm place? She is imagining that how would be, what if that Antarctica would become a warm place instead of the coldest place that it once used to be. And really, when ages we are told Gondwana was there, Antarctica was a warm place. Will we be around to see it, or would we have gone the way of our dinosaurs? He's saying, will we get a chance to, had Antarctica become a warm place? Will it become ever? And if will become, will we be getting a chance to be there, or we would have also gone, means extinct like these dinosaurs, mammoths. Okay, mammoths are huge animals, woolly rhinoceros, and so that. Who's to say? Who will tell us? But after spending 2 weeks with a bunch of teenagers who still have the idealism to save the world, all I can say is that a lot can happen in a million years. But what a difference a day makes. The writer is saying that whatever it happens, so many things she saw and she was disheartened. Okay, but as her journey was with these students, and she found she came to know about the ideology of this student. So some hope is there in her mind that these students or these teenagers, okay, are sure about, and their ideology is really fruitful.